Ladies and gentlemen, still joining you on Cairo Local Time, and our topic for this afternoon is Egypt's efforts to combat illegal immigration. Now, I'm delighted to be joined this afternoon by my guest here in the studio, Dr. Sara Kira, International Relations Specialist. Dr. Sara, thank you very much for joining us on Cairo Local Time. Now, Egypt has issued its first law for combating illegal immigration. The law does not hold the actual migrants or asylum seekers criminally accountable, only those traffickers or the people facilitating their immigration. The law does impose tough penalties against traffickers or brokers, and of course this is a result of the recent events that we've seen not just in Egypt but all around the world, refugees traveling perilous journeys across the seas and the roads and the rails, all to seek asylum in greener pastures and different countries. Now, Doctor, nearly 210,000 irregular immigrants have arrived in Europe across the Mediterranean between January and June of 2016. Approximately 3,000 have drowned in the Mediterranean during the same period. How serious are these figures?
Very, and I highly doubt those numbers. They are so much higher than that. The thing is that we have to classify correctly first, and we have to differentiate between immigrants and refugees. Refugees are those who are facing humanitarian crisis or war or conflicts, and it's usually very severe. Migrants are those who are seeking better job opportunities, better lives, better standard of living abroad in one country or another. Europe's crisis is different from ours. Well, due to the geopolitical changes that the region is facing, and it's very serious. Refugees coming from southern Sudan, Yemen, Syria. Syria is the highest, has the highest numbers of refugees and immigrants, and Libya, of course. So this is not easy for the world to handle. We're talking about millions of people are being displaced, either willingly or against their own will. Europe's crisis is that has to do with refugees, people escaping the region from conflicts and wars. Our crisis regarding Egypt, well, Egypt is subject to the same not conflict, well, it's subject to the, exactly, it's subject to the consequence of the geopolitical changes that happened around it.
In the region,
of course, because we're surrounded by countries in miseries. We were on the security level, on the security national level, the thing that they are not called refugees in this case, they are immigrants from southern Sudan, escaping either it's racial discrimination or religious ones through Egypt, going to other countries, and of course the only gate to them either the Mediterranean and then to Europe or to Israel. The thing is that in Egypt it's a transit for the immigrants or for those something between immigrants and refugees. They are the international law now has to look for another classification for them. Exactly. Immigrants is the main reason, or immigration is the main reason of trafficking. It's the source of trafficking. So we are not criminalizing, as you said, we're not criminalizing the fact of immigration or the fact of refugees, because people would have no
These
other
are the victims.
Exactly, these are the victims that they would have no other places to go. And we will talk about this later. The thing is that while using one of the territories, in this case Egypt, a lot of illegal actions take place, like human organs trafficking, drug trafficking, children trafficking, women trafficking, all kinds of trafficking.
But the law that has been established now is very strict when traffickers are caught. How strict, in your opinion? Is it strict enough?
It is strict enough, but the procedures itself is very. We have been discussing this in one of the institutions in Egypt, and the thing is that when you talk to the police officers or the people responsible for national security, they find mass tombs full of bones, human bones, And it's they discovered after the people have already been dead, their organs have been trafficked already, and all of that. We're dealing with mafias that help these people transfer from one place to another, and they enter Egypt with a visa, a tourist visa, and then they get lost in Egypt. They deal with those mafias. That's very hard to reach them. It's very hard procedures. It's very hard procedures. I can say that we have to take it from the root, that we have to be strict about the visas.
In the first place.
In the first place.
Right.
I would
Dr.
add
Sarah,
that.
I just want to ask you quickly about some of the main problems that are created by illegal immigration for the migrants and the countries that they go to, in the two aspects, in your opinion.
The two aspects of
the problems created by the migrants. Of course, they are a socioeconomic burden. They are a burden on any country's economy. But what are some of the main problems that migrants or refugees create in the countries they go to?
Besides the burden, which is one of the biggest Egyptian concerns now, terrorism, if any of the elements are involved in any, you don't know, either they are really coming to look for a better life or they get lost in the territory. They enter as tourists and then they get lost and they deal with people that it's very hard to reach them, okay? Not only being economically a burden, because sometimes they deal with, you know, there's hidden economy. Sometimes they come with their own resources in case of immigration, not refugees. And they deal with the resources, okay? So if they are not becoming economic burden, they can become security threats sometimes.
So what are both migrants and refugees' rights in any country that they end up in?
Well, there's huge difference, huge difference. Immigrants, if you're a legal immigrant, then wherever you migrated to, well, you get to set your own life, or you get to do your own papers.
Because it's legal.
It's legal.
Yes.
If you're a legal immigrant, in this case, we will call them expats.
No, let's talk about illegal immigrants.
Illegal immigrants. Well, the hosting country will be transferring them back to their countries. And it's just happened, Germany, over the past year, have transferred 10,000 Afghani refugees, and they have been classified by the German government as refugees and not migrants. Migrants. So they set an agreement with the Kabul government in Afghanistan, and they deported. And deportation, we're talking about deportation here, taking people from their houses with one bag, taking them back home to Afghanistan.
And how about refugees?
Well, refugees in this case, it's different. Well, we said that migrants, it's up to the hosting country either to host them or to deport them. Refugees, according to the humanitarian international law, no, the hosting country, wherever territory they. Well, let's talk about Syria now, for example. There is no one on earth that doesn't know that Syria is facing a humanitarian crisis and a severe war. So wherever they step their feet onto any territory, according to humanitarian international law, they have to be fed, hosted, put in camps, and the countries, the states now started to cooperate together either to host them or not. Even they became a paper of pressure between countries, and we've seen what Turkey has done and transporting the refugees to Greece. So in refugees, it's different. They cannot be deported before the crisis is, because where are they going to be deported to?
Right. So the cost of combating illegal immigration is very high. Recently, the British ambassador to Cairo, John Casson, announced the signing of a £2 million British program to assist Egypt in combating human trafficking, saying that while there were no magical solutions to the problem, the UK strongly supports Cairo's efforts in this area. Now, Doctor, in your opinion, what are those efforts by Cairo, and what are the measures taken by the government to deal with human trafficking?
Well, first of all, I see that the solutions so far are being security solutions And there is a huge social aspect to solving the problem. So if the British ambassador in Egypt saying that there are no magical solutions, okay, we would agree to that, but there are root or radical solutions to the issue, which is creating new jobs in the countries with the highest rates of immigrants, aid, the humanitarian aid and the foreign aid to those countries, and not only saying that we have no magical solutions to the issue, and the solutions shouldn't be only security solutions. But the thing is that Egypt, the efforts are all being put in securing our border, because that's what we need now. That's our burden now, securing our borders. So those are the efforts. We do spend money on securing the borders and on making sure are these immigrants or terrorist elements or what exactly. Those are the efforts that I think they have been talking about.
Right. In your opinion, Doctor, how can European countries and countries in the Middle East collaborate and cooperate to deal with this phenomenon? Because at the end of the day, it's innocent civilians and lots of children as well that take these very dangerous journeys and end up losing their lives. I mean, every day we've seen images of people drowning in the Mediterranean, bodies being drawn out.
17,000
It's a disastrous
Syrian
number.
children lost
So
on European territories.
How can they collaborate?
Well, we will never be better than governments, but the thing that I think there should be more understanding between the counterparts. We have been hearing voices in Europe that they don't want migrants or refugees anymore on their territories, and our countries are facing economic and security problems. So the thing is that the cooperation should be on the social aspect. And on trying to solve the radical solution would come from solving the crisis in the Middle East. That would be it.
Right. I'm afraid we've actually run out of time, Dr. Sarah Kira, the International Relations Specialist. I'd like to thank you very much for coming in this afternoon on Cairo Local Time, and we do hope we'll see you again the next time round with better news on this issue. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Doctor. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we do wrap up today's edition of Cairo Local Time. But just before we leave you, we'll leave you with a light entertainment snapshots. My name is Angie Meher. Many thanks for watching.